A boss be rising, baby TV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dreams, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback.
Be careful when you tell your best friend to stop letting people walk all over her. Because one glorious day, that woman might stand up, dust herself off, find her voice, and use that whole thing against you. Then suddenly, all that know your worth and stand your ground advice really starts sounding a little different from the receiving end. Tonight, we're asking a dangerous question. Do you really want your bestie to have boundaries, or did you just want her to have boundaries with everybody else?
Need advice? Ask a bee. The answers may not be perfect, but they'll be entertaining. Submit your letters and let Bee mind your business for a while.
All right, welcome back to Ask a Bee in our week of When Bestie Isn't Bestie for You. And tonight we've got ourselves a beautiful little friendship plot twist. Our writer has spent years encouraging her best friend to become a stronger person. Speak up, stop apologizing for everything. And you know what? Quit letting people take advantage of you. Wonderful advice, right? Inspirational, even. There was apparently just one tiny detail nobody discussed. Eventually, Bestie might decide those rules apply inside the friendship too. Now, one friend thinks she's finally becoming the woman she was encouraged to become, while the other thinks she's changed, gotten difficult, and maybe even become a little selfish. So, tonight we're finding out whether everybody really loves boundaries as much as they claim to when they're standing on the other side of one. Let's get with this letter. Let's scoot on over here and get her on up here. Dear B, my best friend has spent years helping me become stronger. I used to be the person who avoided confrontation at almost any cost. I'd say yes when I wanted to say no, apologize just to end an argument, take on things I didn't have time or energy for, and then sit by myself afterward wondering why everybody seemed to expect so much from me. My best friend hated watching me do that. She was constantly telling me to stand up for myself. She'd tell me, "You teach people how to treat you," or remind me that saying no doesn't make me mean. When somebody upset me, she'd ask why I didn't say something. When somebody took advantage of my kindness, she'd tell me I needed boundaries. And honestly, B, she helped me. Somewhere along the way, I finally started believing that my feelings mattered too. I started speaking up at home, with family, at work, and with people who had gotten very comfortable with me being the person who always gave in. My best friend was proud of me. At least she was until apparently my new backbone wandered into our friendship. Never a good thing. So it started with little things. Instead of automatically agreeing with her, I'd tell her when I saw something differently. If she asked me to do something and I couldn't, I stopped giving a 15-minute explanation designed to prove I had good enough reason. Sometimes I just said no. If something she said hurt my feelings, instead of going home and stewing about it, I told her. I wasn't screaming at her or even insulting her. I thought I was doing exactly what she'd spent years telling me to do, communicating and standing up for myself. But suddenly, she started telling me, uh-oh, she started telling me, sorry, I'm trying to see, am I blocked? It stopped back there or something? That's crazy. Okay. Suddenly, she started telling me I'd changed. She said, I was becoming defensive. She said, everything didn't need to turn into a confrontation. A few times she even acted hurt that I would question something she'd said or done because, according to her, I should know she'd never intentionally hurt me. I believe that, B. I don't think she's trying to hurt me, but I also don't understand why intention means I can't tell her when something actually does hurt me. Apparently, use your voice had a little asterisk at the bottom that said offer not valid when speaking to the person who gave you the advice. Yeah. All right. Well, if you'll give me just one moment because I need to make sure something's not going on with my internet. Looks like that one's okay. Cool. Yay. All right. So, last part of this letter. The whole thing finally came to a head when we had an argument, and I refused to back down just to make everything peaceful again. I told her I loved her. I wasn't trying to end our friendship, and I wasn't attacking her, but I disagreed with her, and I wasn't going to pretend I didn't just because the conversation was uncomfortable. She said she missed the old me. Oh, ouch. Ooh, I'm sorry. That's terrible. She missed the old me, and that lately she feels like she has to watch everything she says around me. B, that broke my heart a little because the old me she's talking about was miserable. That woman was easier to get along with because she swallowed everything. And here's what really messes with my head. This is the same best friend who helped me stop doing that. I don't want personal growth to turn me into somebody who picks fights or thinks every disagreement is disrespect. Maybe I have overcorrected sometimes, but I also don't want to shrink myself back down just because the people who loved me before were comfortable or were more comfortable when I didn't push back. So, B, what happens when the person who taught you to find your voice doesn't like what happens when you finally use it with them? Signed, apparently my backbone has no off switch. And sweetheart, it shouldn't. Okay. I'm sorry that your friend is acting like that. That's kind of childish if you ask me. I'm just gonna put that out there. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Um, don't forget that like and subscribe for me too. And you know what? Here you go. If you want to send in a letter, y'all do that for me, okay? Send me a letter and I'll talk about it. I'll send you an email when I read your letter out. Um, hmm. Okay, let's talk about this because I don't want to run out of time thinking about it, right? Everybody loves boundaries until they meet one, right? Encouraging someone to stand up for herself sounds wonderful when the problem is another person. But the real test comes when that same confidence enters your own relationship with her. Is it possible to genuinely support somebody's growth while still being uncomfortable when that growth changes a dynamic that, well, it previously benefited you? Absolutely. I mean, I think a friendship is just like any other relationship. It has to be unconditional and it can't be, well, you don't like I've said all week, you don't keep score. And I think that's the biggest problem that some people have. They want to keep score. But can somebody dislike a new boundary without necessarily being a bad or manipulative friend? I think is probably the better question here. And yes, I mean, come on. Just because the new boundary is set doesn't mean that somebody can't get used to it. You've got to give them the benefit of the doubt, and they have to learn you're a different person now. And they help change that. And personally, I would think that your best friend right here would be more proud of you than anything else right now. Okay? I mean, think about that. Hey, you know what? Even with me, I see that you are speaking up for yourself. You're not taking crap no more. And ultimately, we don't want to take nobody's crap, right? Nobody does. But there are some of us, and I can definitely say I'm one of them. I hate confrontations. If I have to, I sure will. But I don't like them. Nobody does. So here's the real question, too. Did she change or did she stop accommodating everybody? Which is it? It's both, right? People often say somebody has changed when the person begins behaving differently. But different isn't automatically worse, is it? A person who stops over explaining and apologizing unnecessarily, which is one of my pet peeves, I will tell you, do not apologize for things you can't control because you're carrying somebody else's weight. But, you know, apologizing unnecessarily, automatically agreeing or saying yes to everything, it may feel dramatically different to people accustomed to the old version, right? If they hear no out of your mouth for the first time, that's going to surprise somebody and they're not going to like it. There's going to be lots that probably don't. Oh, to have the old crew chiming in about this subject, Miss Mosby. That would be me. Hey, Paul, how are you? So, oh, gosh, nobody wants to be okay with the old version if the old version was the part that you thought was harming that person, right? You want to be the best friend, you want to give the good advice, but you don't want that turned around on you because, well, you didn't think you were one of those people. But in reality, if she's saying something now, you need to stop and think about that because there's many times she hasn't said anything to you either. So you're not perfect. She's changed, but for the better, and you need to accept that. As far as I'm concerned, you need to accept that. And so, how can you tell the difference between healthy growth and someone becoming unnecessarily combative or defensive or even rigid? Okay. How how can you tell the growth? Listen, if they are finally speaking up for themselves, that's growth. You know that's got to be. How can you not tell? That's my question to you. How can you not tell? And how can you get defensive when you were the one that paved that road, right? Now, sure, she might be a little more sensitive than you thought she was, but that's only because you got away with it, right? I mean, come on. You have to admit that at some point you took a little advantage too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have wanted her to be the way she was before, what you talked her out of being. So, yes, I've got my Beyonce's going. My hair is all over. Thor, hello. Happy to have you. Thank you for being here. Now, if y'all don't see these messages, just let me tell you this. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and there's a lot of you out there. So I will try and say hello to everybody as much as I can. Thank you for being here. Thor, that's awesome. I like Thor. Okay, so intention doesn't cancel impact, right? Longtime friends generally know each other's hearts. Like I've been saying all week. Me and my bestie, it's like two halves of one brain cell that we share, and they don't work well until we're working together. Now, lately things have changed a little bit, but I think for the better, and so does she. And I think it's even made our friendships better, you know? Why emotions are so overwhelming. I guess it all depends on what emotion we're talking about. It's, I mean, all emotions can be overwhelming. It's just uh, how you react. In fact, that's something I'm really big on. Everything is about reaction. Like when my kids were young, if I said no to them, but I knew they really wanted it, and I preached the whole time, reaction is everything. Reaction is everything. Meaning, if when I say no, you react the correct way, I may change my mind. Reaction is everything. So if your emotions are overwhelming, then it's because that's how you've learned to react, to be overwhelmed by them. And all you have to do is talk yourself down a little bit, calm yourself down. If you think taking a deep breath is silly, do it anyway because it helps. You just need that brain to get a little bit more oxygen to clear up because it's like a fog. Emotions can be foggy. They can, even happy emotions can put you in fog. You get to do one of your bucket lists and you're going tomorrow. I would be crying and jumping and screaming and all this stuff. But eventually I would have to slow myself down. Number one, because I'll be 55 next month. I'm old, okay? I don't want to have a coronary. Thank you. I'm glad you think so. And it's okay to have overwhelming feelings because, especially when they're good ones, because then it counterweighs the bad ones, right? We don't have to keep track, but yesterday was a bad day. Today was a good day. And it counteracts each other. So be overwhelmed. Just find your calm. Because overwhelmed is good too. All emotions are good, even if they're overwhelming. Because it makes you think about what is making them so overwhelming. Like I said, the bucket list. I can tell you what is making that excitement so overwhelming for me. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I have the chance to do it. That is overwhelming. But guess what? I'm going to go do it anyway, right? Yeah. Even when it's bad, I still have to go do it. Like when I had my first child, I was so excited to be a mom. So happy to be a mom. And when it came to time to have birth, I was so not ready to be a mom. Agreed, Thor. I think, I'm going to pull this one up because I agree. I think we live in our minds more than our homes. Absolutely. And I think to an extent that's a good thing, but also a problem. Because that's where the overwhelming sensation comes from if you're only in your head, right? Because that's where it's at. It's here. If you bring it out, it helps, doesn't it? Or sometimes it doesn't. But eventually it's going to come around and you're going to have to let it out. You can't bottle up those emotions because there's no room. You have no room for all that. That's why it feels overwhelming because you've already stuffed them down, right? So to get back to the best friend thing though, okay? Longtime friends generally know exactly each other's hearts, right? And souls and their next actions, just like me and my best friend. I can say her name out loud and she'll call me, and she's only half an hour away from me. But believing your best friend didn't intentionally hurt you can matter enormously. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you for saying that. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to put it up because that felt good. Thank you. That was a nice emotion. But thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. I try. I won't say that I'm professional, but I will tell you this. 55 years of life has given me some experience. And if I can share it and help somebody else, that's what I'm here for. So I'm very happy to have you here, Thor. So good intentions don't automatically erase hurt feelings or make a disagreement disappear, right? Can you tell somebody, I know you didn't mean it that way, but this still affected me, without accusing them of being a bad person? Of course you can. That is so true, Thor. That is so true. That's why I'm hopeful that my experience telling others will definitely speak loud and speak in volumes. I really do. And why do people sometimes hear criticism of one behavior and criticism of their entire character as criticism of their entire character? That's something else that I have a problem with sometimes. When somebody meets you, right, those first impressions are so important, right? And you want somebody to just absolutely be enamored of you, when somebody meets you. But here's the thing, that's not always going to be the case. And even if they've known you for a little while, when somebody says, oh, well, they've always acted like that. Okay, but they didn't. In fact, they acted just the opposite and changed themselves so that you wouldn't do the things that you're doing to them. So your criticism has become on top of their entire character because once upon a time they were okay with you treating them like crap. It's true. It's true. All right. So finding your voice can come with an overcorrection period. Of course it can. You're finding it. That's the whole preface here, right? It's about finding your voice. You can't just automatically have it. It's not just automatically going to be there. You have to find it. So, somebody who spent years swallowing everything may initially struggle to distinguish between asserting yourself and fighting every battle. And we have to teach her how to choose her battles. That's another way of finding your own voice, is by choosing your battles. Don't fight with everybody. I'm sorry, David. What's wrong? Did you fart? What's yuck, dude? Yuck. I mean, yuck, yuck. What's it up? Guessing that 55 is the new 64. That explains why I'm easily excited about the little things that happen to the folks that I have known since they were younger, and seeing them doing great today, such as yourself. Skull Baby is very proud of how far you've come. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Paul Becker here has known me a very, very long time. And he's not one of those people that I've ever had a problem with. He knows who I am. I know who he is. And you know what? We're best friends. Always have been, always will be. But honestly, okay. Aw, Timmery. Hi, honey. I miss you too. I love you too, baby girl. Look, another one of my wonderful friends. I love you, honey. I miss you. But learning boundaries can be messy, right? I think we all know that. There can be awkward conversations, mistakes, poor deliveries, a moment when the pendulum swings too far in and the opposite direction, right? How much grace should longtime friends give each other while a friendship just adjusts to one person's growth? And how does the newly assertive friend remain open to hearing when her delivery really does need work? Yes, sir, I know. And you know that too, Mr. Baker. All right, so this one's taking me longer because I got all these wonderful people coming in to visit me. Thor says, are humans only a bunch of emotions or something else? Honestly, I think we're both. Because some of us have a lot of emotions, some of us don't. Um, some of us break out of not having any in a very overwhelming way. I've had a friend that showed hardly any kind of emotion for a very, very long time. And okay, Timmy, you can send me that phone number, honey. I'll call you as soon as I can. It may not be tonight, but I will call you. I promise. I love you, girl. So, my ruling: can the friendship grow with the people inside it? If a friendship only works while one person stays quiet, agreeable, available, or easy to persuade, what happens when that person changes? At the same time, personal growth can't become a shield that makes somebody immune from criticism about how they treat others. Can both friends accept that the relationship itself may need some rules, new communication, and some uncomfortable adjustments? And ultimately, if you helped your best friend find her voice, can you respect that voice even when it's telling you no? I think you can. I think you can. I think it's just one little step away from, I don't know, a better friendship. Because let's face this, okay? Two people that have been friends, say, like, as long as Paul Baker and I have been friends. I believe I was 16 when I first met you, and I'm 55 next month. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time. And if I had to tell Paul Baker no, he'd listen. If he might not like the word, I'm just picking on you, man. Listen, a good friend, you can tell no, and it's not going to bother them. And if it does, they're going to talk to you about it. That's what friends do. That's how you roll, right? You can't be quiet and think that things are going to get better. So find your voice. Thor, you're 22. Oh my goodness, you're so young compared to me anyway, honey. You got a great life ahead of you and you're going to be just fine. I promise. You seem very, very smart, and I think you're going to be just fine. Listen, here's my full ruling. Okay, if you spend years telling somebody to find her backbone, you don't get to request the previous model because the new one occasionally inconveniences you. Growth changes relationships because relationships are built around patterns, even pizza-shaped patterns, huh, Paul? And the respect I have for you, sir. Always have. So, relationships are built around patterns. And when one person changes her pattern, everybody connected to her has to adjust. But finding your voice doesn't mean turning the volume all the way up and breaking off the knob either, okay? You still have to listen and apologize when you're wrong. Watch your deliveries. And remember that having boundaries doesn't automatically make every boundary reasonable. The goal isn't to go from being walked over to walking over everybody else. The goal is getting two people standing upright next to each other, able to disagree without either one having to disappear. So if your bestie helped you find your voice, like mine have, use it with love. And if you helped your bestie find hers, don't act surprised when someday it says something you don't particularly want to hear. Just love her through it. Okay? Talk about it. Can we be the witness of our thoughts and emotions? Absolutely. Absolutely. You're the first witness. Everybody else is second. And that's where self-worth comes in. You need to remember you are worth it. Okay? You're worth someone witnessing your thoughts and emotions coming out. So that's the ruling from this V. And remember, if you helped build the backbone, you don't get to complain when the damn thing starts working. All right, y'all. That is it for me today. Y'all know this is a 30-minute show now. And sorry, but not sorry because I'm old and I got to go to bed soon. I am so thankful you were all here with me. Thank you for making this. Oh, aren't you cute? You know what? You need to go away. And guess what? Bye. Yes, Big Tuna. Thank you. Self worth and being able to determine whether your thoughts are grounded. That's a very good place to be. Absolutely. Always, always, always remember. Always. Thank you, Paul. You too. Thank you for being here too, Big Tuna. Thor, everybody. Thank you so much, Timmery. Love you, honey. I will call you soon. Paul, love you, man. Y'all go see my friends now because Tuber Chat's pretty cool. We'll see you next time.
I want to take a minute to shout out TuberChat. If you're a creator who's tired of surface level advice, yet says, and actually wants to understand how YouTube works, that's the space. It's real conversations with real creators who are in the trenches building channels, testing ideas. No posturing, no gatekeeping, no fake guru energy, just people sharing what's working, what isn't, and why. If you're serious about growing, learning, and not doing this alone, check out TuberChat. The link is in the description.
A boss be rising, baby TV.